Welcome to Vital Life Church. Joining us today in sharing the purity of body, mind, and soul. We don't treat, diagnose, cure, or profess a cure of any sort of disease. Teaching the understanding of polarity therapy from Dr. Randolph Stone and the Mystic Bible, along with Vital Life Energy Program, formulated by Jeff and Lynn Campbell. We start our meeting today as we join together in sharing peace, in sharing harmony, and bringing love and joy in our group and spreading it out to all our loved ones and friends and foe and our neighbors. Today's poem written by Jefferson Campbell, Living Temple. And the reason for the photograph of showing the water and the glistering of the light hitting the water is because we are the light, we are the water, we are the fire, we are the earth, we are the air, we are the ether. Those are the elements that we are made up of, that we are connected to nature. And that connection deep within ourselves is the healing power of nature that we are so deeply connected with. In our meeting, we share that to connect ourselves with who we are and the regeneration that happens, for in nature, nature is always looking for regeneration. The poem written by Jefferson Campbell, Living Temple, which the living temple is our physical body. Living temple, our brain is our temple. Our heart is our temple. Our caring is our temple. Our understanding is our temple. Our wonderful Mother Nature is our temple. Our kindness is our temple. Our life is our temple. Our love for life is our temple. Love is the temple of the soul. There's the light, there's the water, there's the air, there's the ether, who we are, and the connection to our temple and Mother Nature. There was information that was written about the temple in lots of the teaching over the years that we have been running, the purity of body, mind, and soul, the Vital Life Church. And I've just gone back and pulled together some of that information over the years that we have been doing the Sunday meetings and teaching the polarity, Dr. Randolph Stone and the Mystic Bible, along with the teaching of how the soul is connected and how we are so intertwined. The light, or this little light of mine, the internal flame. Nature's patterns arrange themselves in circles or ovals for action and function, even in the minute structures, like a spinning wheels of energy reflecting through the central wheeling mandala or chakra of energy. Now remember that chart that I've shown you many, many times, how it shows you the fetus in the womb being woven, and you see the mandala. And as Dr. Stone shares, the triune, the positive, negative, but also how the zodiac signs are showing you the triad in the weaving of the mandala as we're being woven in the womb as the fetus. Showing that mandala is the different zodiac signs, the Aries, the fire at the head, the positive pole, the solar plexus, the Leo at the diaphragm, and the Sagittarian, the negative, down at the thighs. And it goes on and on and on. And that's what the mandala, like in nature, everything in patterns is in ovals and in circles. The neutral pole of energy fields attracts and forms its own positive and negative poles. Motion or life must have three poles to manifest or flow around a center, even in an atom. It has its neutron, proton, and electrons spinning around in its orbit. Gravity is overcome by positive impulse of energy through the neuter pole, like a joint in the human body to a negative pole. The neutral pattern is in the seed or in the unit structure. These designs of energy patterns are potentially finer forces which can lay dormant for a long time and then sprout. The origin of the pattern field in the human economy is laid down in the embryonic stage of a child in the mother's womb. Well, I was just sharing that, how Dr. Stone was able to teach the triad, the positive, negative, the soul in the middle, the yin, the yang, the sun, the moon, the soul in the middle, and the zodiac signs weaving us in the womb as the mandala. And that's what he's just sharing there as he's sharing about ovals and circles that weave us, positive, negative, neutral. That is the origin of the weaving of energy lines according to a simple principle of definite polarity, which carries on throughout life. So true. These patterns are represented thousands of years in different tribes. Sorry about that, everyone. It's my phone ringing. These patterns are represented thousands of years in different tribes, the Vikings, the Romans, the Egyptians. If you take a look at history, you will see these different tribes expressing the energy fields with their headwear, carvings, tattoos, art on their teepees, canoes, vessels, etc. Egyptian, Native Americans, Romans, and the native of South Pacific used headwear, feathers, weaving, as well as body tattoos. This is how they express the internal flame within one's history. Just like the Aboriginals would put their understanding in on stone, so did the Native Americans. Even the artwork shows the circles, the weaving from the teepees in India to the teepee from the American Indians to the Egyptian pyramids to the Romans and the Viking vessels and swords and armor. Each felt the connection to the eternal flame and did things to express this externally. It is not easy to understand love because its true nature and greatness cannot be described in words. It's a pure and delicate feeling or emotion which can be experienced only by the one who is in love. It is beyond the capacity of the tongue or pen to describe it in any human language. The more love we give, the more love grows. The more love grows, the more love we give. All other things decrease if you share them, but this is something within us which always grows and grows. The more we give, the more it grows. In the process of building this temple within, one fulfills the universal commandment and grows in maturity of imitating the great architects of this universe. The temple first seen is the symbol or symbolic of the human body by temples made by one, the Holy Spirit, the universal creator, whatever anyone wants to put names to. The creation which we cannot see without material eyes, are only part of which we can comprehend, is but a very, very small part of the total creation. Even though science has gone a long way in calculating and describing the extent of the whole universe, that is known in one, our view of heaven through the telescope seems vast and almost limitless. It is neither less but a speck of the real grand total of the entire expansion of the finer and still finer substance and vastness beyond the comprehension of our mind. Dedicated to seekers after truth, embodied in the human form as the temple of purity, body, mind, and soul. In illness and dis-ease, the energy relationships in the rivers of life and its fields is disrupted and needs to be reestablished. When the body is in good health, there is a natural balance and relationship between the breath of life and its conveyor, the bloodstream as the fluid, and its rhythmic beat through the central pump called our heart. The Great Pyramid was made the symbol of the body, the most perfect structure known to human. Truth is the same everywhere, whether it is symbolized by a temple or a pyramid, or by given in the desert by the great teacher. The messages symbolized all the temples and structures were hidden in the secret process and concealed passage or way to go within and meet within the temple of the human body to its consciously communion with one in silence. We always share that is to sit quietly, close your eyes, listen to your inner voice, because it always knows the right thing to do. One can leave this physical body consciously in the state of the inner awareness called transport. So one can, during this lifetime, enter the region spoken in the Holy Scriptures and return it under the guidance and protection of a master or teacher or some spiritual evolved teacher. Of course, you know, that's for us individually to find, or the teacher shows up when the teacher comes when we least expect it. All true mystics effort in the inner path of reality and transport. This is known as few who are real seekers. So it's those of us that are truly seeking, the teacher will arrive. It is too short and narrow a road for multitudes. Only the one who seeks shall find. To one who knocks shall the door of the spiritual life open and lead to eternity while yet in this body. It is literally living in the world but not of it. The truth is one, so is the way and the life in all true mysticism. Isn't that so true? The truth is one, so is the way and the life in all true mysticism. Where our hearts desire, there will be the attention, operating as a carpenter or a builder of the temple of the soul or the region of the mind and matter and physical things. If we will but listen to the word within this temple, love and love alone is the key of life. If we dive deep, we must put a garment of love and humility, which alone can sustain us in that depth of inner pressure of intense light. If we look at what we have in life, we will always have more. If we look at what we don't have in life, we will never have enough. To finish off with the understanding of Dr. Stone's Mystic Bible and the temple, how he's sharing, the three centers are given as the most vital: the head, the heart, and the genitive center, that's the reproductive area, symbolized by the three wise men of old, looking for the king as the newborn life essence in the blood system. Life is closer to us and more real than history, and life's process is vital to us for our understanding and our well-being. the sharing of Dr. Randolph Stone and The Temple from Jefferson Campbell's poem, and sharing that with you today. As we were talking earlier about the seasons changing before we started the recording, that's our newsletter this week. So there's the soul, the mind, and now we're going to the physical body, purity of body, mind, and soul. This most recent newsletter is about seasonal affective disorders and those people who start to feel a little down and gloom and doom with the weather change, with the sunlight hours being shorter and it getting cooler outside. And I'm just finding that newsletter to share with you all today on the call. If you haven't had a chance to read it, that's okay. We do cover it on our calls. What can one do about seasonal affective disorders? Now, iodine, it's an important mineral. It's important when the seasons change from fall to winter. But it's also important for summer because we have so many viruses now all the time. And iodine helps our thyroid, the governor of oxygen. It's one of the minerals that the iodine is made up of. Sorry, the thyroid is made up of. The iodine in the thyroid is one of the minerals that the thyroid is made up of. So iodine is important, not just for winter, but this is the newsletter written about SAD, seasonal affective disorder, where iodine is important from fall to winter, and the daylight hours are shorter and it is colder. Our thyroid gland expands in the winter and it shrinks in the summer, but also important for summer because we have so many new viruses surrounding us all the time and we're getting them all year round. So that's the reason iodine is important even for the southern hemisphere as you're moving from spring to summer. The expansion of the thyroid gland increases oxygenation as the blood thickens in the winter to maintain body heat and thins in the summer due to the warmer temperatures. Paint iodine on the bottom of the feet each night. If you're starting to feel that, low energy, things aren't as bright as they used to be, finding it hard to get out of bed, you paint it on the bottom of your feet. It's the furthest away from the core of your body or your vital organs. So you're not going to overdose by painting it on the bottom of the feet. The iodine gets absorbed by painting it in the feet, in through the lymph, which drains up into your thyroid gland while you're sleeping. Because remember, we don't have to stand up to the resistance of gravity. So while we're sleeping, whatever's down in our reproductive area, in our colon, is going to drain up into the ears, nose, and throat while we're sleeping because we have most of our lymph, 50% of our lymph, which we're mostly water. 80% of the body's water is lymph. 71% of the total volume of water in your body, okay? But 80% of that total volume of water in your body is lymph, and the other 20% is blood. The iodine gets absorbed through the bottom of your feet while you're sleeping, and it drains up, and of course 50% of our lymph is in our reproductive area and our colon, which is going to drain up into our throat as ears, nose, and throat because we're not standing up to the resistance of gravity while we're laying down at night. So when you paint the bottom of your feet closer to bedtime at night, naturally that iodine is going to get absorbed through the bottom of your feet into your lymph and then travel through the lymph up into your gland while you're sleeping. That iodine is essential for the thyroid for the governing of oxygen, which viruses cannot live in oxygen. Now, let's bring the light to you because that's part of the reason that people start to feel that gloom feeling with the colder weather and the sunlight hours being shorter, okay, is there's less light. And we live off that light, just like we're sharing the understanding of the ancient geometry with also the yin and the yang and the weaving of the mandala of the ovals and the circles that we're being woven in the womb as the fetus, the positive and the negative, the sun and the moon and the soul in the middle, right? Okay, that's who we are. We're connected to that. So when there's less light, let's bring light to you. Epsom salts, the crystals of light, which is the Epsom salts, whether the foot bath or the full bath, if you're feeling achy, because that can happen when the seasons get cooler as people start to feel more inflammation in their joints. That's where, if you're able to get into the Epsom salt baths, that's going to help the entire lymph circulation. If not, the foot baths are just as good. And if you're having some inflammation, which we all can have a tendency to have inflammation in the brain, particularly if you have any sinus inflammation, if there's sinus inflammation, there's going to be inflammation in the brain. That's where we do the foot baths. But then, of course, we write also about the crystals, which are the Epsom salts, have the light. The crystals of salt are light. You can add crystals. Citrine is one of the crystals that I'd written down, known as the merchant stone, which attracts abundance and joy, or sunstone, which is a radiant warmth. It radiates warmth, it boosts vitality, and promotes joy and optimism. The Vital Life formulas, those of you who are taking the program, you can increase, and you don't, if you've got some of them or you've got one or two of them, just increase what you have. If you're starting to feel that season change, HSN, hair, skin and nails, KB, kidney and blood purifier, peace and tranquility, Wu Wei, peptide anti-aging, premium prebiotic, and the adrenal boost. And then, of course, it lists the amino acids, tyrosine, histidine, phenylalanine, tryptophan, all hold on to light. Oh, that has something to do with our pituitary. Right here. If you're not sensitive to dairy, cottage cheese with flaxseed in the evening time increases tryptophan. And then we list the phenylalanine high foods, tofu, tempeh, legumes, lentils, chickpeas, black beans, pistachios, chia seeds, flax seeds, sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, oats, cashews, walnuts, macadamia, hazelnuts, Brazil nuts, soybean, pine nuts, navy beans, kidney beans, buckwheat, rye, grain, pecans, mung beans, aduki beans, whole grains, quinoa, oats, brown rice, milk, yogurt, cheese, right? They all have high phenylalanine. And of course, the tyrosine with the alanine will uptake and make phenylalanine. Then obviously the HSN, the flavonoids that are in the HSN and the KB, they absorb the ultraviolet light and provide protection to the tissue. That's the reason if any time you're starting to feel like you're fighting something, that's the first thing you want to always gravitate to, is upping your vitamin C bioflavonoid formulas, KB and HSN. Because again, like it says, it holds on to and absorbs the ultraviolet light and provides protection to the tissues. And then vitamin C breaks down into hydrogen peroxide. And we already talked about hydrogen peroxide and gargling with it before we started the recording today, because it's one more molecule more than oxygen. So again, you can use the vitamin C and upping the HSN or the KB, because the vitamin C breaks down into hydrogen peroxide. That's one more molecule more than oxygen. It's going to increase the oxygen, and then you're going to flush. Viruses cannot live in oxygen. They cannot live in light, and they cannot live in heat. Heat, light, and oxygen. That's the reason, like when a child gets a fever, that's the immune response heating up the body to burn up the virus. If you maintain the fever, the child's immune system will get stronger and they'll recover and build immunity. So that's what it's all about, keeping our immune system, our T cells maturing and activating the stem cells within the bone marrow to make the lymphocytes, the T cells, the B lymphocytes, your red blood cells, as well as your platelets. But we're keeping our immune system boosted all the time now because there's so many new viruses surrounding us all the time. Now, the yellow and orange and red pigment fruits are essential. They're high in antioxidants, very good for the eyes. That's the reason we wrote about pineapple and eating pineapple. Who would have thought pineapple was good for your eyes? Okay, all right. The proteolytic enzyme that's in pineapple, right? Okay, excellent for the eyes. So that light absorption is sent to all your glands when it's absorbed through the eyes and into the back of the eye to the pituitary and the pineal, and then they send it down, that light, to all your glands. Now, keeping the extremities are important, right, so that heat doesn't escape at the top of the head. And that's the reason cayenne pepper, using that and sprinkling it, particularly for those of you who have cold feet, is using a little bit of cayenne pepper in the bottom of your socks. It helps circulation in your extremities. As Dr. Stone has always shared, keep the head cool, keep the feet warm, and keep the bowels open, and we can hope for a long life. When the extremities are warm, then the heat does not escape the top of our head. where the pineal regulates our circadian rhythms with each season to the position we stand on the earth, to where the sun comes up and goes down, to our individual rhythm and harmony. Let's do our breathing together in our circle as we join and link arms with different around the world, down under the UK right now, and there's different areas around the US on the call today. And we do the breathing, and we take that slow breath in through the nose and feel your diaphragm expand, each rib expand when we take that breath in, and then bring it past your diaphragm, hold 2 or 3 seconds, and in your own timing, exhale out, relax your jaw on the exhalation, relax your shoulders, and shake away all the tension. So let's close our eyes together as we link arms in our circle of love, as we spread peace, harmony, joy, and love. In your own timing, remember, as you take that deep breath in through your nose, feel each rib expand, the elastic band expand of the diaphragm, bring the breath past the diaphragm. Hold once you bring that air all the way down to the lower abdomen, blowing up the lower pelvic area. And then exhaling out, relaxing your jaw and your shoulders on the exhalation. In your own timing, slowly exhale out, and then shake away all the tension. Let's do that breath again in your own timing, and visualize the air going past your elastic band of your diaphragm, balancing the earth and water below the diaphragm, and then on the exhalation, balancing the fire and earth above the elastic band of the diaphragm in your own timing. On the exhalation, relax your shoulders, and let's shake our hands and release all the tension. And one more time, in your own timing, together, as we share and bring peace, love, harmony, and joy in our group, and spread that out to the universe. In through the nose, bring the air past the diaphragm, balancing the earth and water below. On the exhalation, relax your shoulders and your jaw, balancing the fire and air above, and release and shake away the tension. Thank you all for joining our meeting each Sunday. We've changed the time to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a great week. We love you all.